Welcome back to the study of the Vivekacudamani. In the previous study, we learned that mere words do not give us knowledge. We tend to get caught in the web of words sometimes, trying to exhibit our superiority over the others. But by doing so, we are only deceiving ourselves. We are not trying to achieve to the highest goal of human life, namely God realization or self-realization. In the 59th verse, Sri Shankaracharya is continuing this trend when he says, Avijñāte pare tattve shastradhitistu nishphala Vijñāte pare tattve shastradhitistu nishphala Pare tattve avijñāte shastra adhitihi tu nishphala. That is, the study of the scriptures is useless so long as the highest truth is not known, it is unknown. If we are not intent upon realizing the truth, just mere studying of reading, not studying, reading of the scriptures is almost useless. And he says again, it is equally useless when the highest truth has already been known. Once you have achieved to the highest state, then there is no need for any of the scriptures. Sri Ramakrishna, to the former statement, that is to say, study of the scriptures is useless as long as the highest truth is unknown. So that he says, Grantha should not become a Granthi. What does it mean? Grantha means a scripture or a book. It should not become a Granthi. Granthi means, another meaning of Granthi is not. If by studying the scriptures, you are getting knotted together, that is to say, you are getting confused more and more, then there is no need to study. That study of the scriptures is of no use. Another way of explaining this is that we need to study the scriptures in order to know the truth. It is like a guidebook, Lonely Planet guidebook. You take the Lonely Planet guidebook, travel with it, and try to understand. But the book is of no use once you are face to face with the sights and you are enjoying the sights. At that time, instead of enjoying the sights, you take your book and keep on reading the book. It is of no use at all. So once you have achieved to that highest, then it is of no use. And Sri Ramakrishna again says that once the truth is known, then it is useless. All these books are of no use at all. Sri Ramakrishna, he used to say, look here, I don't read any of the books. I don't study any of the scriptures, but in the beginning years, I used to listen very attentively to the discourses of scholars or great souls. Sannyasis used to come to the Dakshineshwar temple. He used to sit and he used to listen to them very intently. But now there is no use for me to read any books at all. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is written by Mahendranath Gupta, Mahendranath Gupta goes to Sri Ramakrishna's place once, for the first time rather, and it was dusk, almost dusk, and Sri Ramakrishna was sitting inside his room. Outside his room was Brinde, a maid servant, whose job was to light the lamps, the oil lamps in the temple, and of course to do us other cleaning and other jobs. So she was sitting on the steps leading to Sri Ramakrishna's room, and Mahendranath Gupta, his pen name was M. Mahendranath Gupta goes and asks her, well, is the Paramahamsa inside? Yes, yes, he is very much inside. Then Mahendranath says, perhaps it is time for him to perform his evening prayers, rituals like Sandhya, Gayatri, and others. So Brinda says, no, 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 just go. You can go. And then he asks this question, does the Paramahamsa read a lot of books? Brinda immediately says, books? Well, all the books are on his lips, on his tongue, so to say. So it is all there. He does not have to read any books. All the books are on his tongue. Having been educated in the Western method, Mahendranath Gupta was surprised. He said, how is it possible for anyone to gain knowledge without reading the books? But here is one who says that this person has acquired all the knowledge without reading the books. How is it possible? So once he goes, meets Sri Ramakrishna and starts having conversations with him, he realizes the truth of what Brinda had said. Indeed, here was a person who does not have to read any books, but the books are on his lips. Similarly, our Vedas, which are called as apaurushaya, which are not humanly written or created, they were given the knowledge about the Vedas, the knowledge that is in the Vedas, were given to our rishis. Rishayaha mantra drashtaha. The definition of a rishi is a person who has the vision of the mantras. Mantras are formulas, or you can also say mantras, or the, the, the fund of knowledge that are now contained in what we call as the Vedic lore. So these rishis could behold them. Without reading them, they could behold them. And they in turn, they taught it to their disciples. So here he says, Shastra adhitihi vijnatepi paretatve. Once that knowledge has been acquired, then study of the scriptures or reading of the books are of no use at all. In the Ashtavakra Gita also, Rishi Ashtavakra says the same thing, that there is no need or necessity for a realized soul to read any scriptures or even to meditate. Soul life is a meditation. Whatever he says it becomes a Shastra, becomes a scripture. And in the next verse, Shankaracharya warns us against this habit of becoming a bookworm. Shabdajalam maharanyam chitta karanam atah yatagnyatavyam tatvagnyaistatvamatmanah. The scriptures consisting of many words are a dense forest which merely causes the mind to ramble. Hence, men of wisdom should earnestly set about knowing the true nature of the self. That is the main thing, knowing the true nature of the self. Why am I studying this scripture, for example, the Vivekacudamani? Is it for showing off, or is it for understanding the true nature of the divine? So we should study only as much as is required, as much as we can understand the central point. That's why you have this famous Bhaja Govinda Stotram by Sri Shankaracharya. Govindam Bhaja Mudamate Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrinkarani. So this old Brahmin in Varanasi was sitting outside his house and was nodding his head, swinging to the rhythm of Duk Ring Karani. Duk Ring Karani. This is the definition of Kr, the, the verb or the root word for action. Karani means to act, to do something. So this is Panini's grammar. He is trying to memorize this. Seeing that this man's 1 foot is already in the grave, and yet he is sitting outside and trying to memorize the Panini's grammar, Shankaracharya takes pity on him, and then he writes that Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukkhinkarani. When the time is coming, when the time comes for you to go, this memorizing all the verses of Panini does not come to your help at all. Therefore, Bhaja Govindam, he says to him, Bhaja Govindam, instead of wasting your time in this, now take the name of the Lord. Praise Govinda. So we need to keep this in mind all the time whenever we are studying the scriptures or engaging ourselves in scriptural discussions. It is for the purpose is to understand the essence of the scripture, not to get caught in the web of the words. So, Ajnana sarpadashtasya brahmajnana aushadham vina kimu vedaischa shastraischa kimu mantraih kimu aushadhaihi. For one who has been bitten by the serpent of ignorance, the only remedy is the knowledge of Brahman. Of what avail are the Vedas and other scriptures, mantras and medicines to such a one? See, the serpent of ignorance, he says, this is a deadly serpent. Ignorance is a deadly serpent and it has bitten us. So if we, I think Buddha says, a snake has bitten you, and if the doctor keeps on asking you, well, where did it bite? That's okay. It is necessary for him to know about it. But in which direction was from which direction did the snake come, and from to which direction it went, and all of these questions. If he keeps on asking these questions without treating you, would that help at all? No. The poison will go deeper and deeper. Therefore, says, do not engage too much in vain talk. That is the idea of this jnana. Jnana alone, that is, knowledge alone can make you free. All these words, etc., fall in the realm of ajnana. We should remember this all the time. Ajnana is ignorance. It is if knowledge remains as mere words, then it is ignorance. But if knowledge can free you and release you from all doubts, if it can release you from the clutches of ignorance, then that is true knowledge. So he is very emphatic, Sri Shankaracharya, even though he himself has written so many bhashyas, that is, explanations of the scriptures, and he himself had engaged in days or months or years of scriptural discussions with various scholars all over India. Yet, towards the end, he has come to this conclusion, and he has said to us that there is no point in us just keeping on reading everything and keeping on reading too many books. Just take one thing, one subject, and delve deep into it, dive into it. There's no point just floating on the surface. Dub 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 rup shagore amar mon, tola tol khojle pabire shei ratnodhan. Sri Ramakrishna used to sing this beautiful Bengali song. Oh my mind, dive deep, dive deep into the ocean, God's love. Dive deep there. And there you will find great gems, great uh, precious stones, etc. It is not just enough for you to float on the surface. You will not get anything. Dive deep, dive deep, dive deep. न गच्छति विना पानं व्याधिरौषधशब्दतः विना अपरोक्षानुभवं ब्रह्मशब्दैर्न मुच्यते. See, merely a disease does not leave off if one simply utters the name of the medicine without taking it. Similarly, without direct realization, one cannot be liberated by the mere utterance of the word Brahman. See, there is no meaning in just saying Brahman, Brahman. We are not going to get relieved from any of the effects of ignorance. So, says, if I just utter the name medicine without taking it, nagachati vinapanam, it will not give us any cure of the disease at all. So Shankaracharya is trying to impress upon us the necessity to practice the spiritual disciplines, not mere engaging in vain talk or vain discussions. Akrutva drishya vilayam ajnatva tattvamatmanah brahma shabdai kuto mukti uktimatra phalair nranam. Without causing the objective universe to vanish and without knowing the truth of the self, how is one to achieve liberation by the mere utterance of the word Brahman? It would result merely in an effort of speech. So it is without causing the objective universe. That is, we are in this objective universe. This universe should become, it should become a manifestation of the divine. We should take it as a manifestation of the divine and not as one that is binding us. We will come to this statement later also. Akrutva shatru samharam agatva khilabhushriyam rajahamiti shabdanno raja bhavitum arhati. Without killing one's enemies and possessing oneself of the splendor of the entire surrounding region, one cannot claim to be an emperor by merely saying, I am an emperor. Somebody says, I am the emperor or I am the prime minister, without contesting the elections and without going through The process, if I just declare myself as a prime minister, I will only be put behind bars and thinking that I am a crazy person. Similarly, here also, just saying, oh, I am a spiritual person, I am a seeker of Brahman. No, first realize it, realize it. First, try to practice the spiritual disciplines and try and make your life a continuous process of spiritualizing. That is what it is. A continuous life must become a continuous process of spiritualization in everything that you do. In the food, when you are eating the food, when you are talking with somebody, when you are doing any of your work, in all of that, bring in this concept that I, as Brahman, am performing this action, this work for the realization, for uncovering the veil of ignorance. So my own sole purpose in life must be to realize the Atman or the Supreme Self. That must be the one and only goal in my life. So I will repeat this this again and again. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishiladyutkarshanam svikritim निक्षेपः समपेक्षते नहि बहि शब्दैस्तु निर्गच्छति तद्वद् ब्रह्मविदोपदेशमननध्यानादिभिर्लभ्यते माया कार्यतिरोहितं स्वममलं तत्त्वं न दुर्युक्तिभिः. If you know a little bit of Sanskrit, these verses of Shankaracharya are like sweet music to your ears. So he says, as a treasure hidden underground requires for its extraction competent instruction, excavation, the removal of stones and other such things lying above it, and finally grasping, that is to take it out, but never comes out by being merely called out by name. So the transparent truth of the self, which is hidden by Maya and its effects, is to be attained through the instructions of a knower of Brahman, followed by reflection, meditation, and so forth, but not through perverted arguments. Not through perverted arguments. We should not engage into in vain argumentation idea. So in order to discover or uncover the treasure that is hidden within ourselves, it is not somewhere outside of ourselves. It is there within ourselves. And in order to do that, we need to practice these things. What is it? We must have competent instruction. Receiving the instruction from a competent person. Not everybody and anyone and everyone. That is why this accepting a guru, when we accept a guru, we need to be very, very careful about it. So he says competent instruction. If the instruction manual is wrong, it has been written wrongly, and you try to follow that, then you will know what will be the result. It will be disastrous. So in the same way, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana says Tatha Upadesha. Shravana he has not said, but Shravana is implied over there. Tadvat Brahmavid Upadesha Manana Dhyanadipir Labhyate. So he says the secret of obtaining this treasure lies in practice of the spiritual disciplines like Shravana, listening to the words that are uttered by the Guru, Manana, and deeply thinking about it, turning it over, just as you turn the sword or the earth again and again when you want to grow something, you need to turn it again and again. The same way, if we have to grow spiritually, we need to turn this, the essence of the scriptures, scriptural instructions, or the instruction that your guru has given to you again and again and again. Not be satisfied. Of course, mantra japa is one of those practices which turns our mind. So, turns all actions that are in our mind. It just turns over. So, in the same way, that's what he says here. Shravana and then manana. Manana is turning over the words of the scriptures within your mind, manana. And then comes the nididhyasana. Once you are firmly, once you have firmly understood the meaning, then nididhyasana, deep meditation on it. Nididhyasana, deep cogitation or meditation on it. Holding on to that one ideal or one subject in your mind, you go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. Just as the divers do, they hold on to one something and then they go deeper and deeper, and then there they will discover all these precious gems, etc. Tasmat sarva prayatnena bhava bandha vimuktaye swaireva yatna kartavyo rogadaviva panditaihi. Therefore, the wise should, as in the case of the disease and the like, personally strive by all the means in their power to be free from the bondage of repeated births and deaths. See, the wise should personally strive by all the means in their power to be free. That is to say, do not leave any stone unturned, as they say. Do not leave any stone unturned. Try by all the strength that you have. That's why the scriptures say, Ashishto, Dridishto, Balishta. A seeker after this path should have Ashishtaha, should have the blessings, of course, but one should put that blessings into practice. And therefore, Ashishtaha, one must have the discipline. And then Ashishto, Dridishtaha, one must have firm conviction. Then Balishtaha, one must have, once you have the conviction, then one must have the strength to follow it up, to go forward, onward and onward. Charaiveti, says the Upanishads, go onward and onward. Do not give up, just as the Everest climbers. In spite of all the weather and other difficulties, they strive on and on and on, especially when they see the summit in front of their eyes. They will put forth all of their effort. 100% of their energy is given out. So in the same way, here also, one must strive by all the means in their power. That is the idea. Yastvayadya krutah prashno variyan shastra vinmatah sutra prayo nigudhartho jnatavyascha mumukshubhihi. The question that thou hast asked today is excellent. The teacher is encouraging the disciple to ask the question, ask the correct question, that is to say, ask that which is really burning, not just mere out of curiosity, but that which is burning in your mind or in your heart. Approved by those versed in the scriptures. Aphoristic, that means this knowledge that you are talking about is very terse and pithy. That means to say it has got a lot of energy hidden in it, lot of knowledge hidden in it, but it is in a capsule form. It's in a short form. So therefore, one has to meditate upon it. One has to go dive deep into this subject, pregnant with meaning and fit to be known by the seekers after liberation. शृणुष्वावहितो विद्वन्यन्मया समुदीर्यते तदेतत् श्रवणात् सद्यो भवबन्धात् विमोक्ष्यसे. Listen attentively, O learned one, to what I am going to say. By listening to it, thou shalt be instantly freed from the bondage of samsara. See? The Guru says, Shrunushva avahito. Shrunushva means here, you listen to it very attentively, not just hearing about it, but listen to it. Go deeper and deeper into it and listen with all of your attention. Do not be, do not be disturbed by anything else. Shrunushva avahito, attentively, be very attentive to it. Avahito vidvan yan maya samudiryate. I am now going to say something about which you should be aware of and listen to it. By listening to it, you shall be instantly free from the bondage of samsara. You will be, if you are very keen in knowing this, if you have the intensity of intensity to understand this secret of this science of spiritual life, then you will, I assure you, the teacher says, I assure you that you will be freed in an instant. See, spiritual realization or Brahmajnana, the knowledge of Brahman, it just happens in an instant. Sri Ramakrishna says, how does the knowledge illumine? And he says in Bengali, Dop kore jole jai. It happens in an instant, just as when you switch on, immediately the light comes up. Not like in olden days when we used to have what is called a fluorescent tube lights. It would take a long time for it. Slowly and slowly then there would be the starter, and then there would be the capacitor, etc. And then it will blink a few times and then it will come on. But here it is instant. Now we are in the age of LED lights. So instantly, as soon as you switch on, instantly you will get the lights. So this knowledge will come to you in an instant. Mokshasya hetuh pratamo nigadyate vairagyamatyantyamanus anityavastushu tatah shamaschapi damastitiksha nyasa prasaktakhila karmanam vrisham. The first step to liberation is the extreme aversion to all perishable things. See? Then follows calmness, self-control, forbearance, and the utter relinquishment of all work enjoined in the scriptures. See, this has been defined in slokas 20 to 24. See, what are those? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Ityevam Rupo Vinishchaya. First comes conviction. Conviction that Brahman alone is real, everything else is unreal. Then comes Vairagya or renunciation, that is the desire to give up that which is not real and holding on to that which is real, that is real Vairagya. So we have studied them in great detail. So he says here, first step is to liberation is the extreme aversion, Vairagya, to all perishable things. It is difficult for householders to do this, but at the back of one's mind, one should have this conviction that God alone is real. Again and again, if you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you will see this one thing which is stressed all the time. God alone is real. Or God alone is real. Ishwari Shattu. And he says the goal of human life is not enjoyment. It is only to realize the ultimate source from where we all come, or the ultimate source of the whole universe. The goal is to realize that. So this is, I don't think we should go very deeper into this because we have studied this previously. Tata Shruti Stan Mananam Satattvadhyanam Chiram Nitya Nirantaram Munehe Tato Vikalpam Parametya Vidvan Ihaiva Nirvana Sukham Samrachati. Then comes hearing after. Then comes hearing, reflection on that, and long, constant, and unbroken meditation on the truth for the Muni. After that, the learned seeker attains the supreme Nirvikalpa state and realizes the bliss of Nirvikalpa even in this life. See, Shravana is very, very important. That means hearing or listening to the words of the scriptures, the words of the Guru. And after that comes reflection, which we just said, manana, reflection on that. And then nidhyasana, constant and unbroken meditation. Then comes samadhi, of course. That's the last one. And the truth for the Muni. Muni is a person of reflection, not just a person who has got uh, locks on his head and all that. No, a Muni is a person who Mananat Munihi, one who reflects upon it, whether it be a man or a woman, one who reflects upon the deep meaning of the scriptures, or the reality, one who reflects on the reality is a Muni. Muni. Yad bodhavyam tavedanim atmanatma vivechanam taduchyate maya samyak shrutvatmanyavadharaya. Now I am going to tell you fully about what you ought to know, that is, what you should know. The discrimination between the self and the non-self. That is the Atma Anatma Vivechanam. What is the self and what is the non-self, what is not the self. That will be explained shortly. Taduchyate maya samyak Satva Atmani Avadharaya. Listen to it and try to reflect upon it. Decide about it in your mind. See, this is one thing. Shrutva Atmani Avadharaya. Having learnt about it, go deeper and deeper into it. Deep thinking, less speech and deep thinking. This is one thing which Shankaracharya is stressing on us. We have to take the mind beyond the names and forms, from the relative world to the absolute. This is one of the disciplines that we should follow. See, we generally in Hinduism as well as in other religions, we think about the afterlife, the desire to go to heaven or to enjoy in the afterlife, etc. So we have all sorts of fanciful concepts about heaven and hell, etc. But according to Vedanta, there is no need to go to a heaven or to a hell. Here itself there is heaven, and here itself there is the hell. So we need to uncover this knowledge. That is the very reason why we are studying these scriptures, to uncover this knowledge which is hidden within ourselves. It is not in this book Vivekacudamani or in any Upanishad or anywhere. It is within you, within me, within every one of us. Our effort after we study these scriptures is to reflect upon it, to go deeper and deeper into ourselves. That is why meditation upon these verses are very important. Atmani avadharaya. That's what Sri Shankaracharya very beautifully says. Atmani avadharaya means you have to dive deep, and then you have to understand the meaning of this, not merely reading it and intellectually understanding it, but go deeper. Avadharaya. Know understand the reality of this, of the words that are being spoken over here. So, Sri Shankaracharya now starts his Upadesha or his teachings from now onwards. What does he say? Majjasti meda palarakta charma त्वगाह्वयैर्धातुभिरेभिरन्वितम् पादोर्वक्षो भुजपृष्ठमस्तकैः अङ्गैरुपाङ्गैरुपयुक्तमेतत्. Sri Shankaracharya is now telling us, of course, science now we all have studied science, and we know what the science is saying about our body. So he's talking about the body or the composition of the body, composed of the 7 ingredients, namely marrow, bones, fat, flesh, blood, skin, and cuticle. Cuticle is that which we have the hair and all that. And consisting of the following limbs and their parts: legs, thighs, the chest, arms, the back, and the head. So this is what the external body is, so to say, our body is made of. So we are all aware of it, but Shankaracharya is trying to bring our focus to this. And then slowly he will negate all of this. Aham mameti pratitam shariram mohaspadaam sthulamatiriate budhaihi nabho nabhaswaddahanambu bhuyah bhumayah sukshmani bhutani bhavanti tani. This body, after explaining what this body consists of, it says, this body, reputed to be the abode of the delusion of I and mine, is designated by sages as the gross body. When we talk about the 3 bodies, that is the gross, the subtle, and the causal. These are the 3 bodies which we are made of. So he is talking about the gross body. And most of us, or all of us, identify ourselves more with the gross body and less with the subtle and the causal body. Because this is very gross, so to say, this is something which we can feel, we can dissect, and then experience it also. So this body is designated by sages as the gross body. So the sky, air, fire, water, and earth are the subtle elements. The subtle elements are the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, and then Prithvi. This is the way it is explained, the 5 elements. They are called the subtle elements. परस्परांशैर्मिलितानि भूत्वा स्थूलानि च स्थूलशरीरहेतवः मात्रास्तदीया विषया भवन्ति शब्दादयः पञ्चसुखाय भोक्तुः. Being united with parts of one another and becoming gross, they form the gross body. That is to say, it is the 5 elements, subtle elements, that cause the gross body. And their subtle essences form the sense objects, the group of 5, such as sound, etc., which conduce to the happiness of the experiencer, the individual soul. So the individual soul is that which makes use of all of this and either experiences happiness or experiences sadness. So the mind, especially the mind and the ahankara, that is the I sense, the ego sense, these attach itself to the body and then says, I am happy, I am, my body is painful, and so on and so forth. So being unity, he says, the process is as follows. Each of the 5 elements is divided into 2 parts. One of the 2 halves is further divided into 4 parts. Then each gross element is formed by the union of 1/2 of itself with 1/8 of each of the other 4. So actually what I will do is uh, for the next session, I will send a text, a chart of this. So then it becomes easier for us to study this and to understand this. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to understand it without a chart, because we have got so much used to pictures and to charts. So it becomes easier for us to understand this. So I will send it over beforehand, and it can be, all of you can look into it and then try to understand the meaning of this. So yeshu mudha vishayeshu baddha रागोरुपाशेन सुदुर्दमेन आयान्ति निर्यान्त्यधऊर्ध्वमुच्चैः स्वकर्मदूतेन जवेन नीताः. Those fools who are tied to these sense objects by the stout cord of attachment, so very difficult to snap, come and depart, up and down, carried amain by the powerful emissary of their past action. See, with this he says, we are all fools. We are all fools. As long as you have not achieved to the highest, you are a fool. That means you have not understood the highest knowledge, or you have not entered into the kingdom of the divine. So we have known the knowledge of the structure and not of its content. The structure is this body that is made out of, and not of its content. What is it really made of, or what is what is the essence of all of this that I see everywhere? The essence is Brahman and Brahman alone. So we get tied with the sense objects and say, this is mine, this is yours, and so on and so forth. So this attachment to the ego, to our ego, which in turn attaches itself to the body and to the mind, is the root cause of all of the ignorance about the real nature of our self. The real nature of our self is that it is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. It is of the nature of truth. It is of the nature of consciousness. It is of the nature of Ananda, joy. That has to be emphasized again and again and again. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. I am of the nature of Chidananda. It's always joyous, full of joy, joy of the knowledge of Brahman. That has to be understood. So we will stop here for today and we will take up, and I would request you to kindly remind me before we meet in 2 weeks. We have the next, excuse me, 10th. 10th is the it is the Saptami of Navaratri. I will have to be excused because we have the Navaratri celebrations, which are starting from the 4th, 5th onwards. It'll start, and on the 10th evening we have got programs here, and also we will be preparing for the 11th Durga Ashtami Puja here. So I would beg your pardon, and I will request that we meet after a few weeks, probably on the 28th of November. Till then, my humble request to all of you is to read this, study this book, and try to understand what has been studied, and try to understand or get the essence of it, and at the same time practice your spiritual disciplines, meditation, especially meditation, and also treating all actions, all work as a path to the realization of the divine. No work is too little and no work is too great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.